They often say the Premier League's like a jungle, and they couldn't be more wrong. I mean, you've got Tottenham who are just goring their way through some competition. You've got Sarri showing that he's a very wise man. People are accusing Jose Mourinho of having dinosaur tactics. Arsenal are starting to become the force to be reckoned with again. Two questions. Will Liverpool blossom into title winners? Or will Man City remain kings of the jungle? Guys, find out as I explore the fixtures coming up this weekend. Welcome to the Sanderson Show. So guys, the UEFA Nations League is finished for now. And we're back to Premier League football. Hooray! And we start this episode speaking about Crystal Palace travelling from South London up to Manchester to face Manchester United. Now, I've got to be honest, Wilfried Zaha going back to Old Trafford, it's a headline in itself. But I don't see Crystal Palace being able to pick up the points this season at Old Trafford. I think Manchester United are starting to come back into a little bit of form. Now, granted, they did come up short against Manchester City, but really and truly, is there much shame in that? Manchester City are just a phenomenal footballing team, and they were just outstruck, outgunned and outplayed, to put it frankly. But I don't think Crystal Palace are anywhere near Manchester City, and I do think Crystal Palace are going to go there. I think they're going to try and play it tight. I think they're going to go with Townsend and Zaha as two up front. Going to try and compact the midfield. However, I do not see them causing Manchester United enough trouble throughout the 90 minutes. And I do see Manchester United picking up the win. For the first 20-30 minutes, it might not be too comfortable, but I think after that, Manchester United, their quality will start to show through, and I think they'll grab a couple of goals. I actually think they'll beat Crystal Palace quite comfortably in this game. I'm actually going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester United. I think Palace can score, but I just think it will be really comfortable for United. I don't see where the threats are that much from Crystal Palace when you take Zaha out of the equation. And I think Manchester United will come up with a game plan, more specifically Mourinho will come up with a game plan to negate the threat of Wilfried Zaha. And I think you look at the likes of Rashford and Martial, I think this could be a good game for Lukaku if he plays to get a bit of confidence going. Crystal Palace haven't got the fastest centre-backs. They're not that strong in the air. This could be a game for Lukaku, who knows? But guys, I'm going for a Manchester United win. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now we move on to, you know who I'm going to talk about. Smiles on my face. Liverpool Football Club. Now they're taking on Watford, and this is going to be at Vicarage Road, and I've got to be honest, this is a game I'm never too comfortable with. Over the past couple of seasons, we've always found it difficult there for whatever reason, and I don't see this season being much different, if I'm going to be honest, which is quite frustrating for me. Now, I think the main thing that will have to happen in this game for Liverpool to pick up a victory is Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, if they both start, will have to be at their best. If Watford do go with two up top in Troy Deeney and his name evades me, Andre Gray, there he is, getting old. If they are both playing, then the centre-backs will have to be on absolute top form, because if Troy Deeney or Andre Gray get any sort of a stranglehold in this game, it's going to be really hard battling back from there. However, a lot that also depends on Liverpool's midfield. How will they line up? I mean, Shaqiri had, again, another good spell in the international break with another great performance. But Klopp away from home seems to favour the three-man midfield of either Henderson or Fabinho, and then Milner and Wijnaldum. For me, although it's industrial, although it protects the back four a bit more, there's no creativity going forward. And if you can't have a threat going forward from midfield, then you're putting all the onus on three players in the whole team, and that's a lot easier to defend against. If Shaqiri plays, this is another element for Watford to worry about. But at the same time, Watford's midfield isn't weak either, and Watford's team isn't weak, and they've had a really good start to the season. If I'm going to have to give a prediction, which I do for all the other games, so it's only fair I do for this, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm hoping for a win for obvious reasons. I want to stay in touching distance with Manchester City. But this is going to be a tough game in my opinion, and I'm going to go for a draw. I think Watford are going to come out, they're going to be strong, they're going to be in our face. If we can get through that wave of pressure, then we'll be fine. But if we can't, it's going to be really tough. I'm going to go for a draw. Guys, do you think I'm being too cautious? Do you think I'm sitting on the fence? Or do you think that Watford are going to spring a surprise and beat Liverpool? Guys, you let me know. Leave your comments below. Now over to Manchester City, and they just keep on going from strength to strength, and we saw how dominant they were in the Manchester derby. They completely blew Manchester United away. From the first minute, they had a foothold on that game. They stamped their authority and they never looked back. And it was an easy victory. I mean, 44 passes for the final goal for Gundogan. Just plain sailing really, and they made it look really easy against a team who are not rubbish in Manchester United. They get a lot of stick, we have a lot of banter, but they're not a rubbish team, and they made them look bang average. And I think they're going to do the same against West Ham, and I think it could be worse potentially. Now, again, it's a case of more sort of past history coming to the forefront. We've got Manuel Pellegrini, who led Man City to success, now coming up against his former club, and the club that got rid of him to bring in Pep Guardiola and bring them into the Guardiola era. It's going to be a really interesting game. Now, when I say interesting, it's going to be interesting in terms of how West Ham are going to be able to cope with the early pressure. I do think Man City will inevitably break them down, and I think it will be a comfortable win. But let's not be too harsh on West Ham. I think they have their strengths as well. I just think Manchester City's strengths outweigh everyone else's in the league, and West Ham will be no different. I see it being a comfortable win. I don't think it will start off too comfortably for Man City. I think West Ham will fire out the blocks and try and get an early goal or two. But I think Man City, even if they concede, I think they'll weather that storm, and I think they'll plough through. And I see it being 2 or 3-0 to Man City. I just think they're too strong. They've got too many options. Their brand of football is really nice to watch, and I think a lot has gone under the radar in terms of them defensively this season. They've been really strong defensively, and a lot of credit has to go to Laporte. He's come in from a different league, and he's a young defender, but he just fit in so well into Pep Guardiola's system, and he just looks like he's going to be a mainstay, him and John Stones, and he's brought the best out of John Stones. And he's a quality acquisition, and he's proved that he's worth every bit of money that Man City splashed out on him. And if you've got solid foundation, and then you've got the attack and the just quality and abundance they have going forward, I can't see any way past a Manchester City win. So I'm going to go 2 or 3-0. Guys, do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I being too harsh on the irons? Let me know. Now, I know there's one more game I've got to discuss from the Saturday fixtures. However, I'm just going to quickly skip that and come back to that at the end. I'm going to focus on Arsenal right now, who are taking a trip to Bournemouth to play Eddie Howe's the Cherries. I think this is going to be another win for Arsenal. Now, Callum Wilson is in great form. He's got a great name. But I just think Arsenal are going to have too much for them. Arsenal have actually been really good away from home this season, and they've proved a lot of people wrong. So before Emery came in, Arsene Wenger, I think, only picked up maybe 1 or 3 points in the away games of 2018. But it's been a complete contrast and reverse in psychology and just attitude and endeavour on the pitch, especially away from home. And Emery's really got his philosophy into those players, and they're really buying into that philosophy. And they've been really good away from home. Now, granted, they beat Fulham 5-1, but who hasn't beaten Fulham this season? But I just think they will have too much for Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth are a good team. They've been playing well. But as we saw in the Manchester United-Bournemouth game, they do sort of crack when the pressure's on. And I think Arsenal are really good at getting the team on the back foot and keeping them there and continuing to pile on pressure until they reach that breaking point. And then you've got the likes of Lacazette, Aubameyang. Torreira's having a really good season in midfield. He's really just honed into that central area and just made sure everything around him is solid and sturdy. His distribution is good. He's always looking to pass the ball forwards. Ozil's come back and he's been a bit more creative. He's getting into games a bit more. Again, you're going to say I'm being a bit harsh. I still don't think he impacts games as much as he could or he should, but he's doing just enough right now. And Iwobi's having a good season as well, considering what he was going through last season. And I just think Arsenal will have too much for the cherries, unfortunately. I do think Bournemouth will put up a fight. I'm actually going to go 2-1 Arsenal in this game. And I expect Bournemouth to score as well because we all know Arsenal's defence is a little bit shaky, to say the least. And Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, who's also having a really good season so far, I think they will get in and amongst some chances. Leno's got a big part to play in this game if he starts, or check if he starts. But yeah, I do expect Arsenal to pick up the win. I'm going to go 2-1 for the Gunners. Guys, if you disagree, if you agree, you know what to do. Leave your comments. And now to the game of the weekend on paper. I always say that because sometimes I hype up a game and it just doesn't live up to the expectation. However, this should be very tasty. We have Tottenham versus Chelsea at Wembley because Tottenham still haven't finished their stadium. Come on, guys, let's get it finished. But what a game this is likely to be, and I'm really looking forward to this game. We've had the battle at the bridge. Last season, Tottenham lost 2-1. Marcus Alonso got 2 goals. And this season, it's really, really hard to call. Jan Vertonghen looks like he's going to be fit and ready to play, which is quite miraculous considering that he had a hamstring injury. And if he comes back into defence, they'll be a lot more solid. Davinson Sanchez has not seemed the same as he was last season. He seemed to have been a bit exposed this season, to be completely honest. And Chelsea, I mean, without Hazard playing at his best, Chelsea don't look like they're at their best. However, when he is on form, and he usually is on form when he plays against Tottenham, they do great things. How am I calling this game? I'm going to go for a Tottenham win. I'm going to go for a Tottenham win. Just though. I expect it to be a really close game. I'm going to go 1-0 or 2-1 Tottenham. Now, I do think that Tottenham have been a bit lucky in some of their games. Defensively, they've not been as sure as they were last season. Hugo Lloris, he pulls off a good save, but he's also got mistakes in him. And that's something Tottenham will have to address as the season progresses. Then again, Gazaniga's come in, he's played really well, so he might actually get the nod. We'll find out on Saturday. But I do think Tottenham will be really up for this game. Dele Alli's sort of back to match fitness now. You've got Lucas Moura, you've got Son, you've got Kane, who always is good for a goal. And everyone's starting to sort of come back into the team now. And Tottenham have still kept within touching distance of all the big boys. And for all their lack of transfer activity, for all their lack of so-called ambition, they are still in and amongst the title race. So you can't write them off by any means. Do I think they'll win it? No, I don't. But you still can't write them off so early in the season, especially when they're still in touching distance. And I don't think Chelsea are quite there yet for the title. I actually think Tottenham are closer than Chelsea. I know Chelsea have had a good start, but I think Tottenham are the better team and have got more in their squad than Chelsea do. And for that reason, I am going to go with a Tottenham win. Now, I can put forth arguments for Chelsea to win. As I said, if Hazard's on form, then it's going to be a really long afternoon for the whole of Tottenham's team, because when he's on form, he is just a magical player to watch. Again, does Willian start? Does Pedro start? Does Jorginho get the sort of space in midfield where he'll be able to dictate? If he does, then again, that's also danger for Tottenham as well. However, I just think Tottenham will be a bit too strong for Chelsea on the day, and I'm going with a win for Spurs. So guys, that's me. Thanks very much for joining me after the international break. And as always, please like, comment and subscribe and share this with your friends and family. Guys, thank you very much for watching The Sanderson Show.